Hi, welcome to Valasco's Brainery. I decided that I wanted to share some of my knowledge with the league, so when I never win another Super Bowl, I can just blame it on that, because the whole league will be so much better. So this is primarily for intermediate and beginning players, and I felt like the best place to start these videos would be with reading defenses. I feel like that's a good kind of base, good first thing to learn to build more things off of. So to begin with, the first defense I'm going to talk about identifying is cover 2. And cover 2 is probably the simplest defense to read. When you see what I'm going to tell you, like when you see this alignment, it is cover 2 almost all the time. There are a handful of exceptions, but we'll get into exceptions much later in the video. So cover 2, you're always going to have 2 high safeties. So 2 high safeties on the field and corners in cover 2 depth. And you notice right now the corners are in a standard depth, which is about 8 yards. When I actually audible to cover 2, you'll notice that they're now at 5 yards. So if you see corners at 5-yard depth and 2 high safeties, it's cover 2. It's really as simple as that. That's the easiest one to pick up on. I'll just revert back again to standard depth and then back to cover 2 depth. So looking at those corners, good place to start pre-play. The next defense I want to talk about is actually 2. It's cover 1 and cover 3. Now these 2 defenses more or less look the same, but it can still be helpful pre-play to know that you'll be facing one or the other, cover 1 or cover 3. And the way to identify cover 1 and cover 3 is basically just the single high safety. We've got Jones here. You can see me running around. If there is a single high safety, you're almost exclusively facing a variant of cover 1 or cover 3. So right now they're pressed. If they're pulled back, it's still the same. We looked at cover 3. It's the same. Press cover 3. It's the same. That single high safety and 8 men in the box is what we're looking for to know that we're facing cover 1 or cover 3.
White.
A very important thing to read pre-snap if you can are blitzes. Some blitzes, in fact, a lot of them disguise themselves pretty well, but many man blitzes are very easily recognized. And there's some kind of dead giveaways, especially once you start recognizing other types of defenses and you see that there's something off. Man blitzes are kind of an anomaly for as far as how they line up. So here, for example, the safeties are lined up very strangely. They're not just far apart. What you're going to notice is that the free safety on the left there is lined up directly over top of Galladay.
Sonic!
That's not a coincidence. That's not normal. He's going to be manned up on Galladay, and that tells us that slot corner is going to be blitzing. As far as I know, there's no way to fake these man blitz looks. If you see safeties lined up in strained positions, especially over the top of tight ends, slot receivers, like it is a man blitz. And I'm going to audible to some pretty different looking formations here so you can see that things stay the same. Because that nickel corner is blitzing, now our strong safeties lined up directly over Galladay. If we move to trips, it actually becomes even clearer, if that's possible. That this is a man blitz, and again that safety, the strong safety, is lined up over the top of one of our wide receivers. It is a man blitz, and so you want to hot route, have a quick read, even if it's or audible to a run, like whatever's kind of appropriate. You want to take action because there's no reason to be caught by surprise by one of these man blitzes where the safety alignment can tell you what's coming. And practice kind of will help you with that. They can look a little different, but like I said, if you see something that just looks weird, the safeties are lined up in a strange way over the top of people, not in normal cover 1, cover 2, cover 3 alignment, it's a man blitz. Next set of defenses I want to talk about are a bit more rare, but it can be pretty helpful to recognize them, and they're actually pretty easy to see. And that's cover 3 cloud, cover 6, and cover 9. And these are defenses that are not symmetrical, so they're different on one side than the other. So what you're seeing here in this particular image is a cover 6, so it's cover 4 on the left, cover 2 on the right. But you notice that if you look carefully, you can see that cover 2 corner on the right side is actually at his cover 2 depth. So it's helpful to see that one, the corners are not at the same depth as one another. One is deeper than the other. So that's a good giveaway you're going to be facing one of those asymmetrical defenses. For example, if we switch to cover 3 cloud, the corner's even further up, right playing on the line of scrimmage. And the other option is some corner blitzes appear the same way. The corner may step in, and that could be a good giveaway that they'll line up like that on a lot of corner blitzes. So just a pretty simple one. Corners are not at the same depth as one another. Here you'd be facing cover 6, cover 9, or cover 3 cloud. I want to finish things off by talking about man cover 2 and exceptions. So man cover 2 is a pretty popular defense, and honestly I think the easiest way to identify it isn't even just in the alignment, because people can press their corners whenever they feel like it, but man cover 2, the corners begin the play already in press position, already lined up in front of each wide receiver. Right as they exit the huddle, they're already there. They're not walking there, like they're already there. So if you see that with 2 high safeties, that's a pretty good giveaway that what you're looking at is man cover 2. Now, lastly, I want to get into the exceptions, more or less when I'm wrong, when the things I've told you are not true and will get you in trouble. And there's a handful of exceptions and plays that look like other plays and plays that are designed to fool you, really. So here, for example, this is pretty typical alignment for man cover 2, but we could actually be in a cover 1 robber, which is, still man on the outside, but pretty different safety play, and different plays down the field are going to be open, and these two look more or less the same. There are some cover 3 press plays, which will line up exactly like this that most playbooks have, and there's actually also a cover 2 press, which is a little less common. Most playbooks don't have cover 2 presses, but pretty bad state to be in if you were looking for man cover 2 and they're running a cover 2. Very different things are going to be open, and you can kind of get yourself in trouble. Now, another type is these show plays. So this is a slant buck show 2, and it's a cover 3 blitz that shows cover 2. So the corners are at those cover 2 depths, and it is there to fool you. It's there to throw you off. Now, people do occasionally, without thinking about it, stumble upon these plays. They'll run cover 3 show 2 or cover 2 show 4. So it'll look like a cover 4, but it's actually a cover 2, which I think I have that here. Yep.
White.
Now, a tricky player may run these specifically to fool you, especially if they know that you're reading their defenses. But intermediate players, even advanced players, don't tend to run these very often because they're not usually quite as effective as the standard version of the play. Some cover 2 depth man can be more vulnerable to deep passes than standard man is, but these are mostly ways to throw off and fool people. So there's a handful of these. There's not anything you can do about that. Some people are going to trick you, and good on them if they do. But yeah, for the most part, if you see cover 2 depth, it's usually cover 2. People aren't usually running these trick plays, but they're out there, and you should know that things can be disguised, look like other things. Thanks.